Hello everyone, I am Miss Bichi B. Balyar and I will be the one to continue the discussion about social sexual behavior. Okay, so let's start. Social sexual behavior. Petting varies from hugging, kissing, and generalized caresses of the clothed body to techniques involving genital stimulation. Petting may be done for its own sake as an expression of affection and a source of pleasure, and it may occur as a preliminary to coitus. Next, social sexual behavior would be incomplete without some note of the role it has played in ceremony and religion. While the major religions of today are to varying degrees anti-sexual, many religions have incorporated sexual behavior into their rites and ceremonies. Human beings, ancient and continuing interest in their own fertility and in that of food, plants, and animals make such as a connection between sex and religion inevitable, particularly among people with uncertain food supplies. In most religions, the deities were considered to have active sexual lives and sometimes took a sexual interest in humans. In this regard, it is noteworthy that in Christianity, sexual behavior is absent in heaven and sexual proclivities are ascribed only to evil supernatural beings, Satan, devils, incubi, and succubi, spirits or demons who seek out sleeping humans for sexual intercourse. Next, additional information about social sexual behavior. Human beings are not inherently monogamous but have a natural desire for diversity in their sexuality as in other aspects of life. Some societies have provided a release for these desires by suspending the restraints on extramarital coitus in special occasions or with certain individuals, and in modern Western society, a certain amount of extramarital flirtation or mild petting and parties is not considered unusual behavior. Next, more information about social sexual behavior. Whether or not a behavior is interpreted by society or the individual as erotic, capable of engendering sexual response, depends chiefly on the context in which the behavior occurs. A kiss, for example, may express a sexual affection, as a kiss between relatives. Respect, a French officer kissing a soldier after bestowing a medal on him. Reverence, kissing the hand or foot of a pope. Or it may be a casual salutation and social amenity. Even something as specific as touching genitalia is not construed as sexual if done for medical reasons. In other words, the apparent motivation of the behavior determines its interpretation. Individuals are extremely sensitive in judging motivations a greeting kiss. If protracted more than a second or two, takes on a sexual connotation, and recent studies show that if an adult male at a party stands closer than the length of his hand and forearm to a female, she generally imputes a sexual motives to his proximity. Nudity is construed as erotic or even a sexual invitation unless it occurs in a medical context, in a group consisting of but one gender, or in a nudist camp. Next, example of social sexual behavior. It may be that those who engage in more sexual behaviors also engage in more frequent alcohol use to meet potential sexual partners or to facilitate casual sex or hooking up. Next, what is coitus? Coitus means the insertion of the male reproductive organ into the female reproductive organ is viewed by society quite differently depending upon the marital status of the individuals. The majority of human societies permit premarital coitus, at least under certain circumstances. In more repressive societies, such as modern Western society, It is more likely to be tolerated but not encouraged if the individuals intend marriage. Sexual intercourse, also called coitus or copulation, reproductive act in which the male reproductive organ in humans and other higher animals enters the female reproductive tract. If the reproductive act is complete, sperm cells are passed from the male body into the female, in the process fertilizing the female's egg and forming a new organism. In some vertebrates, such as fish, eggs are laid outside of the body and fertilized externally. Next, what are the different types of coitus? First, we have here the marital coitus. It is usually regarded as an obligation in most societies. Extramarital coitus, particularly by wives, is generally condemned and if permitted, is allowed only under exceptional conditions or with specified persons. Societies tend to be more lenient toward males than females regarding extramarital coitus. This double standard of morality is also seen in premarital life. Postmarital coitus, example, coitus by separated, divorced, or widowed persons, is always ignored. Even societies that try to confine coitus to marriage recognize the difficulty of trying to force substances upon sexuality experience and usually older persons. Next, we have here the extramarital coitus. Continues to be openly condemned but is becoming more tolerated secretly, particularly if mitigating circumstances are involved. In some areas, such as Southern Europe and Latin America, extramarital coitus is suspected of most husbands and is accepted by society if the behavior is not too flagrant. The wives do not generally approve but are assigned to what they believe to be a masculine propensity. Most extramarital coitus is done secretly without the knowledge of the spouse. Most husbands and wives feel very possessive of their spouse and interpret extramarital activity as an aspersion on their own sexual adequacy, as indicating a loss of affection and as being a source of social disgrace. Next, for example, people who feel they are putting too much into a relationship and not getting enough out of it might let their appearance go, or not work as hard to earn money, or refuse sexual access, or refuse to contribute to conversations. The idea is that such actions will restore equity. If these equity processes do occur, they might help to explain patterns of extramarital sex.